Well, hello, my friends. Let's get over here. We're here in Cranbury, New Jersey this week as I just got done a run to Newark and have a little break before a bus run. But yes, this is Crazy Tom, backing at you again with the 8th installment of ranking the NFL and the 32 teams which are in it. Now, of course, I'm doing this a little late because I've had a lot of things come up with this week. Of course, having to deal with some things with Mischief Night, with Halloween, my work schedule, and a couple of other things. So, needless to say, it has been a very difficult week to try and get some free time. So I'm thankful I get a few minutes now to share with you my thoughts in regards to where the teams are after 8 rounds of the 2017 NFL season. I know you guys call it weeks. Remember, I call it rounds because the NFL is a 17-round fight. You get to sit out a round, but then you got to come back in and fight until the finish. So, obviously, the bottom is a little bit changed up a little, but the top pretty much is all the same. But I'll go ahead and give you the rankings for the 32 teams. Let's start from the bottom. Number 32, and I don't think this is a surprise at all, the New York Giants. You would think they would take advantage of an emotional win that the Redskins had the week before, aided by, of course, 7 officials. But the Giants are that bad. I mean, they ousted Eli Apple, they ousted Snacks Harrison. Who's next? Well, Eli stays, and the offensive line is still a giant mess. Thankfully for them, they have a bye week this week. So, unfortunately, they're going to be in 32nd next week as well, because remember, if you have a bye week, you can't move up or down. Number 31, the Oakland Raiders. Oh, are they a putrid team? You would think they'd have a chance to win against the Colts, but Andrew Luck is such a good quarterback. Doesn't matter what the Raiders throw at him, he does his job. So, Raiders, well, Thursday, their game across the bay at San Francisco. After we've had such great sports in October, a great baseball playoff, of course, the Red Sox winning in 5 over the Dodgers. You get this? Really? Ugh. Well, if anyone does have interest, they can watch the NFL Network for the Raiders and 49ers. And by the way, the 49ers are number 30 this week. I mean, the reason why the 49ers aren't last is because, very simply, they are putting effort in. They don't have Garoppolo. We all know their season ended at Kansas City, and they haven't been the same since. But they put some effort against Arizona. I thought they would win that game. They did not, off a bad snap at the end. But 49ers are where they are. And like I said, Raiders 49ers on NFL Network on Thursday. Boy, that should be a snore fest. Number 29, the Buffalo Bills. Give them credit, though, for a good defensive game against New England. I thought there was a chance they could possibly win that game. The turning point was when the Patriots were up 18-6 in that game, and the Bills thought they had a touchdown pass, which would have cut the lead down to 5. The touchdown was overturned. 2 plays later, their quarterback, who was it, Anderson, throws an interception, return for a touchdown, 85 yards, and that was that. So, needless to say, New England's supposed to have these things happen, and for the Bills, when you're a bad team, it's supposed to happen to you. Bills, though, host the Chicago Bears on Sunday. Number 28, the Arizona Cardinals, whom I think they've had only 2 wins, and both have been against the 49ers. They've been putrid otherwise. Do they go 2-14 the rest of the year? We'll have to wait and see. The good news for them, they have this coming week off. Number 27, the Cleveland Browns. Well, the Browns are coming back to normal, and because they came back to normal, Hugh Jackson finally lost his job after 2.5 seasons, which, of course, was 1.5 seasons too many. It's funny how in 8 games, the Browns had a much better record than they did in the first 32 of Hugh Jackson's career, but when you go 3-36-1, that's not even acceptable for a Pop Warner coach. Browns, though, host the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. Should be an interesting game. Number 26, the New York Jets. I mean, the Jets, you have to understand, they played 2 tough teams in a row. They played the Vikings, and then they played at the Bears. And the Bears, they're both going to be in the hunt for the NFC. So the Jets have Sam Darnold. He's still growing. But now he has a chance to pick up the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday. I think the Jets have a chance. Keep your eye on that game. Number 25, the Dallas Cowboys, still seething after the miscarriage of justice from a week and a half ago. And they have 4 more days to soothe over it before Amari Cooper makes his debut against the Tennessee Titans. Just keep this in mind. The Monday night game for the Cowboys at home against Tennessee is pretty much going to be the same as when Kansas City visited Dallas last year, when Tony Romo made his first visit to AT&T Stadium as a broadcaster. This will be the same thing for Jason Witten. I'm sure the Cowboys are going to put up a nice tribute for Witten and his 15 years for the Cowboys before the game starts. So we'll see what happens there. Number 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars. You talk about Wile E. Coyote going off a cliff. They have gone off the cliff. They had a chance to beat the Eagles, but unfortunately, they haven't had enough firepower, and you know what? Maybe last year was just an illusion. Losing 4 in a row and now trading one of their pass rushers to the Rams, I don't think the Jaguars are really going to be in the conversation for the rest of the year after this one. They have the week off, so they'll stay at number 24 for next week. Number 23, the Detroit Lions. And the Lions, I mean, they looked very impressive against New England, and all of a sudden, they have just fallen flat off the face of the earth. And I think Detroit's going to have to really do some things in order to get back into the race. Otherwise, they're going to be pretty much in the basement of the NFC North. They are at Minnesota on Sunday, and the Vikings are playing very well, so that really doesn't help too much. Number 22, the Tennessee Titans. Of course, they were at that same spot last week, and of course, their week off is going to be interesting when they play the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium on Monday night. Now, it's going to be interesting because both the Titans and Cowboys both had byes last week, so they'll end up having 2 rested teams playing. It should be a real good game. Number 21, the Atlanta Falcons. Well, Atlanta's got to find a way off the schneid. Of course, they had the bye week last week too, so they hold in their position. For them, they play at Washington on Sunday. Number 20, the Denver Broncos. And yeah, they were falling fast. Of course, a backup quarterback arrested for some sort of a domestic thing, and now he's been exiled. Denver is a mess. And you have Kansas City and Carson City ahead of them. Denver's probably a solid third-place team in the AFC West now. But they host the red-hot Houston Texans on Sunday, so that's going to be a very interesting game. Number 19, the Indianapolis Colts. Colts got a bit off the schneid thanks to Andrew Luck and a good road win, putting up 42 against the Oakland Raiders in Oakland. That tells you how sad Oakland's defense actually is after they traded Mack. The Colts will stay at 19 next week because they have a bye. Number 18, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And give them credit. Jameis Winston hasn't been doing much with them, but Ryan Fitzpatrick and his Fitzmagic just seem to have gotten a little bit of a resurge here. They were down big against Cincinnati, came back, tied the game, but lost the game on the final play of the game. So Tampa, they're still fighting. They're at Carolina next week. Number 17, boy, very interesting story. The Green Bay Packers. That team made the biggest message, not just in football, but in sports over the last few days. Now, of course, they had that big game against the Los Angeles Rams, and it really looked like they were going to finally give the Rams their first loss. But unbelievable how this story transformed here. Just over 2 minutes left. The Rams took a 29-27 lead on the Packers, and the kickoff went to Ty Montgomery. Now, the story goes that Montgomery was told, if you catch the ball in the end zone, you take a knee. Ball goes out to the 25. Aaron Rodgers drives you down the field, and guess what? Kick a game-winning field goal at the very least, and the Packers end up getting out of L.A. with a win. No, he actually took the ball out, fumbled the ball as he was being tackled. The Rams recovered. Packers never saw the ball again. The Rams won 29-27, and less than 48 hours later, Ty Montgomery was basically exiled to the Baltimore Ravens. Probably for nothing. That was a message the Packers made. And you know what? Whenever people screw up big games, I totally agreed on the exile. And you know what? The Packers did the right thing by getting rid of him. They also got rid, no laughing matter, of Clinton Dix, who got traded to the Washington Redskins before the trade deadline. I don't know if that's going to be enough for Green Bay to have another run. I'm not sure if they are an elite team anymore, despite the magic of Aaron Rodgers, some of which, of course, the NFL helped them with, of things that just did not make any sense whatsoever. So the Packers are number 17. They have the marquee matchup on Sunday Night Football at New England, Rodgers versus Brady. Great Sunday night game. Number 16, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they're climbing back into it, but it seems like they've been going back and forth. They get a very important win against Jacksonville in London. And I'll tell you what, even though Carson Wentz had a rough first half, he came through with a great second half. Their running back, Josh Hall, did a very nice job. And they also got a new receiver in Golden Tate from Detroit. So now Wentz has some weapons to choose from. Not just Jeffrey and Aguilar, but now Golden Tate is right in there. So the Eagles are going to try and get more wide open, especially now they have their bye week. They play the Cowboys in a week and a half. So it will be very interesting to see how this all comes out. Number 15, the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins, well, that team has been up and down. Of course, they've been having some more down times, if anything else. But they have a rematch with the New York Jets, and this is a dangerous game for them because Miami won the first time in round 2. This is the rematch, and the Jets seem to do well in Miami. So if Miami has a chance for an outside chance of a playoff berth, they need to win this game, but that's going to be a tough challenge. Number 14, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens really fell since their field goal kicker missed the extra point that would have tied the game against the Saints the week before. They had a shot against Carolina, but Carolina played their best game of the year and lost by 15 points. So now Baltimore needs this game, but it's also Pittsburgh's revenge. Not a good spot for Baltimore to be in right now. They're home against Pittsburgh on Sunday, but that might be a real tough game for them because the Steelers are playing a lot better. Number 13, the Minnesota Vikings. They are starting to cook. And, of course, their big win at Minnesota on Sunday night, I mean, it doesn't take away the pain from the Stephon Diggs game from last year, but the fact that they won in the place where their season ended last year, at least they have some solace for their season to continue. And we'll talk about the Saints a little bit more momentarily, but the Vikings are playing better. Of course, they ran into a Saint team that was basically on a mission. I think they get back on the winning schneid on Sunday as the Vikings host the Detroit Lions. Number 12, the Seattle Seahawks. And I'll tell you what, this was a team where a lot of people thought we're going to be under 500. This team is a shot of a wild card. They're not catching the Rams. Please, let's get that through our thick heads here. They're going to be a second place team. They're not going to finish below the 49ers and the Cardinals. The Seahawks are definitely a second place team, and they've been playing pretty good, but now they have a tough challenge. It's at home, though, this week against the Carson City Chargers. They've had a week off, and I think this could be a game where the Chargers get picked off, but we'll see how it goes. Number 11, the Chicago Bears. The Bears, well, they faced the Jets, and the Bears kind of mauled them a bit to the ground. The Bears are going to be in this conversation before the season's over. I know it's a 3-team race for the NFC North, Vikings, Bears, and Packers, but if there's a chance at a division winner, the Bears have that outside shot, and I think they have a better chance in Green Bay to possibly overtake Minnesota, but we'll see. Bears are playing well, but they have a pretty tough chore against the Buffalo Bills next week in Orchard Park. This game could be a low-scoring fest. You got Mack, of course, on the Bears' defense, and the Bills' defense coming off a great performance against the Patriots until you know how bad luck always deals with the bad teams. So that could be a tough game for Chicago. Number 11, number 10, the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals blew a big lead against Tampa Bay, but ended up winning on the final play of the game anyway. Bengals need to get back on the schneid here. They have a bye week this week, so they get the rest up. But who knows what they're going to do when they come back. I mean, the Bengals, it's so hard to tell because if they had a couple of other things go their way, they probably would be much further ahead than they actually are. Number 9, the Houston Texans. Now, the Texans, you have to understand, they've won 5 in a row since starting the year 0-3. And I really do believe that they have a very tough chore at Denver come Sunday. Now, of course, you got Denver, who is a mess in itself. But Houston, they've been doing better protecting their quarterback. And, of course, 5 straight wins will do the trick. And, I mean, let's also not forget, Demaryius Thomas, he got traded to Houston. Right away, he comes back to the team where he was traded from. Go Fig. That'll be a very intriguing part of that game when Houston plays Denver on Sunday. Number 8, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they keep on chugging along. Ben or no Ben, broken finger or not, bell or no bell, while they're ringing other people's bells. Pittsburgh, of course, finally winning the game over Cleveland after 8 quarters. The first 5 ended in a tie. Make that 9 quarters if you want to call it that. But the Steelers, of course, in a grudge match at Baltimore. This is a game to watch. Baltimore's been slipping, and even though the Steelers got shut out by the Ravens in the second half back in round 4. This, I think, is a grudge match, and the Steelers could pick off Baltimore, considering they lost the first game there. Number 7, the Washington Redskins. They have been really surprising. I mean, 5-2 after 7 games. They really have been a little bit of a surprise here in the AFC. They're still up, I'd say, by a game and a half. Of course, the Eagles, I mean, they have the week off this coming week, but now they host the Atlanta Falcons, who I think are just desperately trying to get back into the mix. So we'll see how things go there. Redskins are a more balanced team than you think, and their defense is better than you think, too. Number 6, the Carolina Panthers. Of course, that impressive win over the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, they and New Orleans are going to be the teams to talk about in the NFC South when all this is said and done. So we'll have to wait and see how they come across with that. They may not have a running game, but you know what? Eventually, people are going to spy on Cam Newton and slow them down, and he's going to have to use his arm rather than his legs. So, word of caution there. Then, the top 5 teams, all the same from last week. Number 5, yes, the Carson City Chargers, coming off their bye week last week. They're at Seattle on Sunday. Should be a very interesting game. Phillip Rivers and Seattle's defense, of course, has been playing pretty well, too. Number 4, the New England Patriots. What do you expect? A ho-hum Monday night win. Yeah, we always get the breaks. And, of course, after losing to Detroit and being 1-2, here are the Patriots, winners of 5 straight, and now they get to host the Green Bay Packers in the marquee matchup, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. I'm sure the world will be watching that game. So, same old Patriots, what can I tell you? Number 3, the New Orleans Saints, of course, coming off that huge win in Minnesota on Sunday night. Now they have probably the game of the week, which I'll talk about in a moment. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Ho-hum, they keep going about their business being Denver. Now they go to Cleveland, which could be an interesting game. Of course, Cleveland having a new head coach after Hugh Jackson got ousted. So that could be a little bit of a troublesome game, we'll see. And of course, number 1, thank you, Ty Montgomery, for keeping the Los Angeles Rams at the number 1 spot, being the only unbeaten team at 8-0. Now, as I said, the entire nation will be watching the Rams and the Saints, with the exception of cities like Denver and Seattle, which of course have their home games, and of course you cannot conflict home games with another game on another network. So, other than Denver and Seattle, the rest of the nation's going to see the Rams at the Saints, and I think this is the week that the Saints knock out the Rams. This game can determine home field and the number 1 seed in the NFC. So we'll see how that goes. You know, I'll be paying very close attention to that game. That most definitely the game of the week, if you want to call it that. I thought the Packers had a shot of knocking off the Rams. That didn't work. I think the Saints have a better shot of knocking off the Rams this week. So we'll have to wait and see. So, like I said, the games to watch, the Saints and the Rams. Pittsburgh at Baltimore, like I said, a grudge match for the Steelers, who lost that first match in round 4. The Steelers are playing better. The Ravens are falling a bit. They could keep the Ravens falling even more. And like I said, it's a revenge game in Baltimore, so this is going to be a nasty game. Another game to watch, Chicago at Buffalo. I mean, the wind could play a lot of havoc in that game, and the Bears could get caught flat-footed against a Buffalo defense that has been playing rather well. And also the Jets in Miami, revenge game for the Jets as they take on the Dolphins, and the Dolphins haven't been playing as well as they had earlier on. The Jets are sputtering. Maybe this is Sam Darnold's breakout game. We will have to wait and see. Other than that, really not much to report on the agenda as far as games are concerned. But let me go ahead and read you 32 to number 1, straight on up, and as it goes, starting from the bottom, and I'll do it in 4s. At number 32, Giants, Raiders, 49ers, Bills, Cardinals, Browns, Jets, Cowboys, Jaguars, Lions, Titans, Falcons, Broncos, Colts, Buccaneers, and Packers. Packers are number 17. Now 16 on up. Eagles, Dolphins, Ravens, Vikings, Seahawks, Bears, Bengals, Texans, Steelers, Redskins, Panthers, Chargers, and the final, like I said, the final 5, the same as last year. And the final 4 again, Patriots, Saints, Chiefs, and Rams. A lot of great football coming to you on Sunday. And by the way, as a bonus, on Saturday night, Alabama at LSU on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. I hope LSU pulls this off. I think we're getting sick and tired of seeing Alabama. I'll say this much. Alabama, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, if they can all lose, I think the world would be a better place. Remember, Alabama was handed the championship last year. They've won too much. This is not college football. This is the National Pro Development League for future NFL players. Why do you think the same teams always get in? Think about it. Well, that's it here from Cranbury, New Jersey. Crazy Tom signing off for now. Come back next week for version number 9 of Crazy Tom's 32 NFL teams and their rankings. For now, enjoy your football and don't get sacked, all right?